had to realize that I was worth loving, loving. I had to realize that I was worth loving, loving.
Hello, and welcome back to the Worth Loving Podcast. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. My name is Kiana W. Mitchell, and I'm your host. I hope that wherever you're listening from, you can take a deep breath, settle in for a minute, because this space is all about healing, clarity, and remembering that you are worthy of love, and that you're worthy of a love that feels safe and steady. Today, we're going to talk about something that can feel really confusing when you're healing from it emotionally, because it is something that kind of confuses you. Today we're going to talk about the difference between love bombing and genuine interest. If you've ever struggled to tell the difference, you're not alone. And you're not broken for missing the signs. You were conditioned to normalize intensity, and today we're going to gently talk about how to untangle that and how to get a better understanding of what it looks like to have someone genuinely interested in you instead of love bombing you. So this topic matters because love bombing can be confusing, right? Especially when it comes to someone new who's entering your life. When a new person enters your life, they come in with a lot of attention. They get a lot of affection, a lot of intensity. So, of course, with all of our emotions going on, this could feel like real love. It could feel like you're finally heard, finally seen. You could feel like, finally, someone loves me and they're giving me what I need. But sometimes what feels like connection is actually someone trying to secure access to you before trust has been built. And on the other side of that, genuine interests exist. Healthy people exist. Safe connections exist. But when you have been hurt, the calmness of genuine interest can sometimes feel unfamiliar or even boring. So today we're going to talk about what love bombing is and what to do if you have been or are being love bombed. So last week on the podcast, we talked about affirmations, not the surface level type of affirmations that you hear when people are trying to manifest things, but we were talking about the affirmations that can actually shift something inside of you. We talked about why affirmations worked, how they interrupt our old narratives, and the role they play in building healthier relationships. And not just relationships with other people, but the relationship you have with yourself. We explored how affirmations can help you challenge the beliefs you picked up from past experiences, how they created space for emotional safety, and how they supported you in showing up with more clarity and confidence. So if you missed last week's episode of the podcast, it is definitely worth going back to and listening to, because everything we talked about today builds on that foundation for what we discussed last week. So if you missed last week's episode, click the link in the show notes to listen to last week's episode of the podcast. Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to take a minute to personally invite you into something very special, into my You Are Worth Loving signature coaching program. This is my 12-week trauma-informed coaching experience designed to help you break unhealthy patterns, rebuild your self-worth, and create emotionally safe relationships that actually feel good for your soul. If you've been listening to the Worth Loving podcast and thinking, I'm ready for deeper support, this is your next step. Inside the program, we work together one-on-one to help you reconnect with your voice, your boundaries, and your confidence, so you can stop settling for relationships that drain you and start choosing ones that honor you. I'm only taking 3 clients for the month of May because I honestly want to give each person the time, energy, and care they deserve. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start your healing journey, this is it. Click the Stan Store link in the show notes to apply or learn more. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are worthy of love, and you are worthy of relationships that feel safe, healthy, and whole. Now, let's get back to today's episode. So, when we talk about love bombing, it is very important to know what love bombing is. So, the definition of love bombing is when someone overwhelms you with affection, attention, or promises very early on in a relationship. It's typically very fast, very intense, and urgent. It's almost like that feeling like, ooh, I have to act now. I have to commit now. I have to do this now because you are being bombarded with affection and love and kindness and care. So you have this urgent feeling that you have to do something in a relationship now. Love bombing can sound like, I've never felt this way about anyone else. Or, you're my soulmate. It can sound like, I can't live without you. It can absolutely sound like, let's move in together, especially if you've only known each other for a couple of weeks, maybe a few months. It can sound like, I know we just met, but I feel like I've known you forever. So, this is what it can sound like. And it can come with a lot of other things. Often, love bombing just doesn't come with the words, it comes with actions. So, some of the actions you might see when it comes to love bombing is excessive compliments or gifts right away, pressure to commit quickly, disregard for your boundaries, anger or withdrawal when you slow the pace in a relationship, a sense that you're being swept into something instead of choosing it. And this is important. And you will probably get this in your gut, like you feel pressured, overwhelmed, like you are being swept into a relationship instead of choosing that relationship. So often, love bombing isn't always intentional manipulation. Sometimes it comes from insecurity, fear of abandonment, or a desire to control the relationship before it even begins. But regardless of the motive, the impact is the same. It destabilizes you. So, what is genuine interest? Genuine interest is steady, it's consistent, it's respectful. It sounds like, I'd love to get to know you more. Or it can sound like, take your time. Or, I want to understand you. Let's go at a pace that you feel comfortable with. Or let's go at a pace that feels good for both of us. And genuine interest could look like asking questions to understand you and not to mirror it, respecting your boundaries without punishment, not rushing emotional intimacy, showing up consistently over time, being curious about your world without trying to take it over. Genuine interest doesn't overwhelm you, it doesn't demand anything from you, it gives you space to breathe. And here's the key: genuine interest feels calm, not chaotic, safe, not pressured, seen, and not consumed. So let's break down what the difference is side by side. So when we talk about love bombing versus genuine interest, let's look at the pace, okay? So with love bombing, the pace is fast, intense, and urgent. Genuine interest is slow, steady, and grounded. The motivation with love bombing can be control, insecurity, or validation. The motivation with genuine interest is connection, curiosity, mutual respect. With love bombing, there are boundaries, right? So the boundaries in love bombing is they push past your boundaries. Genuine interest, they honor your boundaries. When we talk about love bombing versus genuine interest, typically with love bombing, there's big highs, sudden lows. So there's not a lot of consistency or stability there. Genuine interest is predictable, reliable, and it's emotionally safe. So, why does love bombing feel like love? I think one of the main reasons it could feel like love is because there's a lot of intensity. So, if in the past, if intensity felt like love to you, then that's not your fault. Maybe you were taught that love has to be earned. Maybe you were taught that love was unpredictable, or you were taught that love was something you had to chase. So when someone comes in with fireworks, your nervous system automatically says, this feels familiar, this feels like love. But because it feels familiar doesn't always mean healthy. Another thing about love bombing is that sometimes if you're looking for love, if you've been broken before, if you've always wanted something done like love and affection, and someone is bombarding you with it, giving it to you, and you might feel like, this is what love really is. They love me, they care about me, they like me, because all of a sudden, all the things you've ever wanted, you're getting in this relationship. Now, is it always genuine? No. Is it something that could be harmful in the future? Yes. Is it stable? No. Is it genuine interest? It could be. Maybe that person is genuinely interested, but they also have issues of their own, which is causing the love bombing. I don't know. But what I do know is that love bombing is not love. Love bombing is something that happens and it can imitate, it can mimic love, it can look like love, but it really isn't. But the great thing about life is that we can learn from our mistakes, right? So We're talking about love bombing because we want to know what it is, what it looks like, what it feels like, so we can know how to avoid this in a relationship, especially if you want a relationship that is stable and healthy and emotionally safe. So that is why we're talking about it. Now, just because love bombing is familiar or might be familiar or even feels good or feel like you're being loved for the first time ever, it doesn't mean it's love and it doesn't mean that it's healthy. The great thing is we can learn the difference between love bombing and genuine interest. We can learn a new rhythm. We can learn what safe feels like, what safe looks like, so that we can look for safe relationships. We can also learn how to trust our instinct and to slow down a fast relationship so that we can have the steady warmth of genuine interest. A lot of times in love bombing relationships, people do have this sense that, something's off, something doesn't feel right, something is just not what it needs to be, but they ignore these feelings. So it's important to trust our instinct. Our instinct is our map. Our instinct is that alarm that we have in our bodies that lets us know before our brain can even comprehend that, hey, something could be wrong, could be danger, might not be safe, might not be healthy. It is our body's alarm system, and it tells us before we can even comprehend what's going on, what that something could be wrong. So it's important for us to trust ourselves and to listen to our gut feeling or our intuition that, hey, this relationship may not be right. Even though it feels right, it looks good, it sounds good, something might be wrong in this relationship. And I think if we listen to our gut feeling and actually slow things down, then we would definitely be able to tell the difference between love bombing and genuine interest. And I think if we trust our intuition a lot more, we could definitely avoid a lot of these situations and pick healthier partners so that we can have healthy, stable relationships. So, here are some questions that you can ask yourself when you're getting to know someone in that beginning stage of early dating that can help you discern the difference in real time between love bombing and genuine interest. Okay, you can ask yourself, does this feel rushed? Do I feel pressured to match their energy? Do I feel safe saying no? Are their words and actions consistent over time? Do I feel like I'm being pulled into something instead of choosing it? And your body's often going to tell you the truth before your mind catches up, like we just talked about. That intuition will let you know something's off. I know they're saying the right thing. I know this is what you've always wanted to hear, but something's off. I just can't put my finger on it. Something's off. You might get that feeling. And if you do get the feeling, please don't disregard it. Please don't say, am I overthinking? A lot of times we do dismiss our intuition because we think we're overthinking. We're thinking, oh, maybe I'm reading more into this than it is. Maybe I'm looking into this too much. But if you trust your gut instinct, if you trust your intuition, your body will often let you know whether something is love bombing or if it's genuine. So, now that we talked about love bombing, let's talk about what healthy interests look like when you're healing. So, healthy interests might feel slow at first. It might feel unfamiliar. It may feel almost too calm. You might want to rush things. You might want to know where things are going, what's happening, right? Because you're not used to this calm, slow pace. But healthy interest gives you space. It respects your boundaries. It doesn't push you for needing more. It doesn't punish you for asking for more. It doesn't overwhelm you. The relationship can breathe and actually feel calm and stable. So a healthy interest doesn't need to consume you to feel connected. And that's the important thing. You don't have to feel consumed to feel connected. I have seen a lot of relationships, and in the healthy relationships, there wasn't any pressure, there was time. That's why people can date for a long period of time and get married later and have healthy relationships. Instead of people who rush into dating and marriage as soon as they meet and then find out later on they don't know each other or things go wrong, right? So it's important to give yourself the space. And that is what healthy interest does. When people are really interested in you, they're not going to try to rush you to get to know them. They're not going to punish you for saying no. They're not going to overwhelm you, take up your space, make it chaotic. They're not going to do that because healthy interest comes from healthy people. And that's the thing. We want to look for healthy people so that there will be healthy interest, so that you can have a healthy relationship. So it's important for us to realize just because you are slowing down the pace in a relationship, just because you're getting to know someone first before you jump into commitment, that's okay. That is healthy. That is normal. Because healthy interest gives you space to determine if this relationship is right for you, if you want to get to know the person more, if they have any of the values that you're looking for, right? Because you can't see if someone has the values that you're looking for and the things that mean a lot to you if you just jump into a relationship. So healthy interests, healthy relationships give you space. Healthy interests will respect your boundaries. The person will respect how you feel, respect what you think, respect what you say. Healthy relationships are not going to push you or punish you for needing time. When I say push you for needing time, I really meant to say punish you for needing time, but they're not going to punish you for needing time. A lot of times in love bombing, if you ask for more time, there'll be punishment like, why do you need more time? Aren't I doing enough? Don't you know? You'll know for sure. Are you not sure about the relationship? They're not going to punish you for needing time. Healthy people are going to recognize, okay, they need time. Let me give them that time. Let me give them that space that they can make a rational, informed decision about whether they want to spend time with me or not. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to force somebody to spend time with you. That's not a relationship. That's like a hostage, right? And you don't want that. So, healthy interests, healthy people will not punish you for needing time. Healthy interests and healthy relationships are not going to overwhelm you. You are going to be able to be yourself. You're going to be able to do the things that you like to do without feeling overwhelmed by this person. A lot of times, what I've noticed in unhealthy relationship or in situations where there's love bombing, the person overwhelms you. So you cannot really be yourself because you're overwhelmed by their emotions, overwhelmed by their actions. And even though their actions might be affection and consistent, well, affection and gifts and all of these things really quickly, it does overwhelm you. And because you're overwhelmed, you cannot be your best self. You cannot be the person who you're meant to be. And sometimes you may tend to shrink in these relationships because you are just overwhelmed with this person's presence and or personality. And that's not the way you want to be in a relationship, especially a long-term relationship. You don't want to be overwhelmed. And healthy interests and healthy people and healthy relationships will not overwhelm you. You will be free to grow and be the person that you're meant to be without being overwhelmed by someone else's personality, without having to shrink who you are to fit someone else's narrative or perception of you. Healthy relationships will let the relationship breathe. You'll notice in healthy interests and healthy relationships that the relationship is free. You can breathe. There's not anxiety or stress or anything like that. One thing I've noticed with love bombing relationships or unhealthy relationships, there is stress. It's tense. It's intense. And you don't have time to breathe or think. And that is why sometimes in these type of relationships, we make decisions that we would definitely not make if we had that chance to breathe, think, and relax. So when you're in an intense relationship, it's hard to focus and make rational decisions versus when you're in a healthy relationship, you have time to breathe and relax because it's not intense, you're not being overwhelmed, it's not chaotic. So healthy relationships are the best way to go, and healthy interests will give you that space to breathe and to grow. And remember, guys, healthy interest doesn't need to consume you to feel connected. You can actually feel connected to people without being consumed by them. You don't want to be consumed in your relationships. You do want to, however, be connected. Now, the song we're going to listen to this week is called Falling, and it is by our podcast artist, Emery Rose, and the song is by a woman. Well, the song is about a woman who realizes that in her relationship, she's kind of been love bombed, and now she's confused and she doesn't know whether she's falling in love or out of love with this person, and she kind of doesn't even know who she's married to. So that is the danger, guys, of jumping into these intense relationships and making quick decisions without making informed decisions. We can get into relationships where we end up not knowing who we're with or who we marry. So here is the song Falling by our artist, Emery Rose.
Sitting here alone with like I don't know you. It has been so many years since the day we said I do, but it seems we have drifted apart. You once had my heart. I feel like we're lost in the dark, like two ships in the night, going our separate ways. But we live in the same house, but we don't speak for days. Falling in and out, falling in and out of love, of love. Falling in and out, falling in and out of love. I'm falling. It is not like it used to be. I don't even know if you love me, but something inside makes me wanna try to make this marriage work and forgive all the hurt. But it seems we've drifted apart. You once had my heart. I feel like we're lost in the dark, like two ships in the night, going our separate ways. We live in the same house, but we don't speak for days. Falling in and out, falling in and out of love, of love, of love. Falling in and out, falling in and out of love. I'm falling. I need to talk to you and see what we need to do. Our marriage is worth fighting for. Let's go to counseling to see what we can be. You and me together, we can make it work. Falling in love, falling in love, falling in and out, falling in and out of love, falling in and out, falling in and out of love.
All right, well, as we end this episode of the podcast, guys, I do want to give you some encouragement because I know that a lot of us have been love bombed. I've been love bombed before, and sometimes it is very hard to see through it because you're hearing all the right things, seeing all the right things, and it's hard to see and realize that, oh, I'm being love bombed. And for a long time, that's not something that was talked about, and it wasn't even discussed. A lot of people didn't even know what was happening to them because love bombing wasn't something that was normalized, wasn't something we talked about or discussed. So if you have ever been love bombed before, I want you to hear this, okay? You deserve a love that doesn't confuse your nervous system. You deserve someone who chooses you without trying to control you. You deserve someone who doesn't rush your heart. You deserve someone who honors your boundaries. You deserve a love that feels safe, steady, and real. And you are allowed to take your time. You're allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to walk away from intensity that doesn't feel safe. And I want to encourage you to listen to that gut feeling, because sometimes our mind can do one thing, say one thing, but our body and that gut feeling and our intuition is not going to lead us wrong. So if you get an intuition or a gut feeling that, hey, this relationship doesn't feel right, I'm feeling pressured, I'm stressed out, this doesn't feel right, even though the right things are being said, right things are being done, I have there's just something about it that doesn't feel right. I want you to listen to that feeling, okay? Listen to your intuition, because your intuition is not going to lead you wrong. And I want you to learn how to trust yourself, trust your judgment, trust that intuition, because that can go a long way in helping you choose healthy, safe relationships. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I truly hope this conversation helped bring clarity, comfort, and a little more confidence to your healing journey. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone who might need it. And if you're part of the Worth Loving Collective on School, I'd love to hear your reflections inside the group this week. Remember, guys, love doesn't rush, love doesn't overwhelm, love doesn't demand. Genuine interest gives you space to be yourself. Until next time, I am Kiana W. Mitchell, and I will talk to you next week. Oh, before we go, I do want to remind you that we are having our question and answer episode tomorrow, so tune in to hear more and get more insights about love bombing versus genuine interest. Until next time, have an amazing day and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
I had to realize that I was worth loving, loving, loving. I had to realize